The video restarted. I have to survive until the end of this video. Just every time I get to the end of this video, someone kills me. First time it was Cthulhu, then it was Fez. There was a giant rhino through me. I don't know, but I have to get through this review and I have to talk about this movie. It needs to be done. So anyway, Until Dawn is one of the latest video game adaptations that is not following the story of the video game. I, as well as many others, are getting sick of this. Although I've never played this game, I do know elements thanks to Dead Meat's kill count. But I don't know. I'm just sick of this. Like, there's not following the games, right? Resident Evil is a big one. They never followed the games. And when they tried to introduce the characters, they had to play second fiddle to the director's fucking wife. And then they finally released one that was connected to the games. And you know what? Y'all shit on it. I know it condensed two games together, but it was, for all intents and purposes, faithful to the games. But you all still shat all over it. They did what we wanted. We wanted an adaptation of the first one. Okay, but hear me out. You got that plus an adaptation of the second one. The next one could have been an adaptation of the next two. But y'all shit on it because that's not what we wanted. And now Zach Cregger's making a new Resident Evil movie. And guess what? It's been announced his movie won't follow the games either. Or have any of the characters from the games in it. Then what the fuck is the point of calling it Resident Evil then? Sorry, that really pissed me off when I saw that announcement. I'm like, what is the point? What is the point of doing a Resident Evil movie if you're not going to have the characters and follow the story? We've heard the first Resident Evil movie is not bad. I've seen bits and pieces of it. It's a steady plot. It doesn't follow the games, but it seems that it's happening underneath the mansion from the first game. So, he's had adaptation of the game. But this was announced it would not be following the game, and the fans got pissed. And then the trailer came out and introduced it was going to have a Groundhog Day type time loop sort of thing going on. Which I guess is to explain like the video game resetting thing, like you die and then you reset and you go back. That's what it's supposed to be, I guess. There are a few things that are taken from the game. The plot of a group of people going 1 year after disappearance of someone is part of it. There's a Wendigo plot. There's a character, Dr. Hill, taken from the games. We even get a little nod to the first game at the end of the movie, which is supposed to hint that the sequel will be the movie? Will be the game? That doesn't make sense with a certain character, because we get there. Yeah, and the plot is that this girl Clover and her friends are going to this place where the last place that her sister was known to be, and then they get there and they all die pretty quickly and then wake up to find that they're still alive. So yeah, they have to survive until dawn. Title drop. So yeah. So we start out with, and this is another time I've been disappointed because I heard Maya Mitchell was in this. And Maya Mitchell, I know from the Teen Beach movies, and I was like, okay, she's in this, cool. Might as well gotten Joe Blow actress number 5 for this role because I don't know. I know she's not well known. She's been in a lot of young teen programming, in the 2010s or whatever. She was on that the Fosters, and then she was in the spinoff. But like, yeah, but she was Teen Beach, the Teen Beach movies. So, yeah. But no, she's at the beginning of this, and she's being attacked by this. Apparently, it's supposed to be a clown. It looks like a skeleton mask to me, but attacked. And she's like, "No, I can't die again." And swings the axe, and then we cut. We get the correct title card, Until Dawn, and then we see our characters. We have Clover, but I've never seen anything before. Her ex-boyfriend, Max, who is Bob's Got Balls from Annabelle Goes Home. Her best friend, Nina, who is the daughter of Pamela Adlon. Her boyfriend, Abe, who is a dick. And then their other friend, Megan. Right? So, I forgot I poured soda in this. I was expecting tea. Anyway, so they go off to this place. They're driving to find the last location to where the sister was, and they stop at this gas station where we see Peter Stormare. A lot of people would think, oh, this is just a cameo because he played Dr. Hill in the game. And he looks totally different from the character in the game. He's got a beard. The hair in the back of his head is longer because he bought up here. So he just, oh, they cast him in a new role and they did all that. Yeah, okay, cool. But, yeah, and he says, oh, there's this place where people disappear all the time. Maybe your sister, she was there. So they go there as it really starts to pour rain. And then once they get there, there's like a whole dome around it where it's raining everywhere else but not there. I'd be like, let's just leave. But, no, they go inside and it's like a cabin, hotel, cabin, bed and breakfast thing. And we sign a thing. Apparently, you gotta sign in. So I thought, oh, it's the book. Burn the book and you'll stop. No, it's not the book. It's not. There's something else going on here. But yeah. So they go in there and they start walking around and start talking. And that's when this serial killer guy shows up. He ends up killing all 5 of them. And then it resets. They're like, what just happened? Because like some of them were outside. Some of them were in another place. They all died. Not all at the same time, but they all ended up dying. And I immediately went, I don't know how this is going to work. Because usually it's one character. They die and it resets. We have to wait for every single fucking character to die. That's going to be boring. It does get a little long in the tooth at some points. And immediately the concept of it being a time loop movie is thrown out the window. Because it's not one of those time loop movies where we have to make sure we don't do exactly what we do each time. No, it changes every time, which I guess is a way to keep things fresh. Because now, the serial killer guy, the clown skeleton mask guy who's not walking around, he still is, but he's not there anymore. And instead, there's another house across the way. And they're like, well, we have to, Nina has a psychic breakdown and dies. Not Nina. Megan has a psychic breakdown and dies. This is the only time that happens, and it's never explained why it happens here and not any of the other times. Because it's her psychic powers are doing this, and I'm just like, okay. So is that going to happen every time now? No, only this time, and it's not explained why it happened here and not any other time. Because they don't need her for this, I guess. Well, they lock themselves behind the door. Then, because it keeps opening. So they have to block it. But, Clover hears her sister calling for her. So they have to open the door. And then she gets pulled out to the other house where there's a witch who tells her, like survive the night or become a part of it, which I don't know what it is. And then they all die again, and they wake up, and they all decide we're just gonna stay in the bathroom this time, but that doesn't work. Because like Abe drinks some of the water from the sink, because the water didn't work before, and now it does. So something else was added there, and then he explodes. Now this confused me / pissed me off. We are shown specific order in which they drink the water, right? Abe is first, and Nina, and then it's Clover, then Max, and then it ends on Megan. But that's not the order in which they die. Why didn't they? It doesn't make any sense, because they start dying in order they die. It's like, what's his face exploded. Abe explodes, and then Nina is next. And then they run out of there, and then it jumps to Megan, and she doesn't just explode. Her stomach, one of her legs explodes, and then her stomach puffs up, and that explodes, and her head explodes. And then it's Bob has balls, or Max. And then, before she can die, Peter Stormare shows up and says, "You can't just sit around and wait. It's not how it works." And then she explodes. And I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Because he has a thing later, and it's very confusing. Because they end up finding information. There's almost missing posters there too, but they end up finding information about a mine collapse, which I guess is from the original game. In that version, no, there was cannibalism and they ate each other, and that's how they became Wendigos. Or here, it's like the constant looping ends up turning them into Wendigos, and no one makes it past the 13th loop. And somehow, Dr. Hill, who is Peter Stormare, still Peter Stormare, says that you cannot all survive. One of you has to die. Only 4 can leave, not 5. He says it like that. One person must die for you to be able to leave. And I'm like, but wait, if they hadn't drank the water and just sat there in the bathroom, they would have survived. There was nothing else coming after them. If they didn't drink the water, they just sat there, they would have been fine. This theory, this idea of one of them has to die doesn't make any sense. But also they said this, and I'm like, okay, kill Abe. Because he's the asshole. He's the only one who's not really connected. They say he's just a guy that Nina is dating, so he's the one to get rid of, right? There's also 2 other options. Because Nina at one point says, "I'd rather die than live without my friends." So that could be a nod. Maybe she'll die and the rest of them will leave. Or, an obvious one is Clover. She will sacrifice herself so she can be with her sister again and the rest of her friends can go free. Any of those options, even just Bob has balls stabbing Abe in the face and then they walk out, would have been better than what they actually went with. Because I'm just frustrated. Because one thing I said was, we'll get to it. No, that's not it. And then, again, they all die. And then they wake up and they're like, how long has it been? How many times have we looped? Because we just smashed cut to, it's the 13th time now. Yeah. Because there was a video they watched where there's an experiment where seeing how many times this guy can loop, because 13 times he starts to turn into a Wendigo. And at one point, they run out, they try to escape, and they're attacked by Wendigos, and one of them is Clover's sister. And I went, fuck. Because it's one of those movies, again, that has the trope of, we're going here to find someone. And I went, it's going to be one of those where they never find her, right? They explain that she died or something, and they never actually find her. But she gets closure, and that's important. They went, nah, she turned into a Wendigo monster and is killing people. That's almost worse than just not finding her, right? It's like, what if in the Friday the 13th remake, Clay's going to find his sister that disappeared, and by the time he gets there, it turns out, oh, she decided she's going to kill people with Jason now. That would be fucking stupid now, wouldn't it? Right? Or how about a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie where our main character's friends are all killed by Leatherface, but it turns out she's his cousin, so she's okay with it by the end of the movie, and she's even going to fucking feed him? Oh, wait, that actually happened. But, yeah. So anyway, they find out that Megan is missing. I just had war flashbacks to that movie. So they got to figure out where she went. It turns out she didn't loop, which makes no fucking sense because the loop doesn't start until doesn't restart until they've all died. So if she didn't loop, they wouldn't have looped. It doesn't make any sense. But apparently that's what happened. And she's stuck in a padded cell with a Wendigo guy going after her, right? And so Clover shows up to save her, and the others are doing who God knows what, trying to survive, I guess, trying to run from the serial killer mask guy. And so she has a confrontation with Dr. Hill. And this man places his coffee on a table where there's dripping water, and he knows that the water will make you explode, but he keeps it there. And then he decides not to pay attention as she pushes the mug into the water. And I'm sorry, but drips sound different. Water dripping on a table sounds different than it dripping in a mug full of liquid. But no, she didn't. By the way, the mug makes no sound. Do you hear the sound it's making? It makes no sound on this table because if it did, he'd figure it out. So he takes a drink. And as soon as he takes a drink, I like how she backs up. And then he explodes. And then she's able to get the keys, rescue Megan, and they go to escape. The Wendigos come after him. She kills her sister, which I guess is her closure. And then they escape. Because they also killed the mass murderer guy, I guess. And then it doesn't reset. Even though they're all still alive. It doesn't reset. They're free now. They survived the night. But Dr. Hill said, you can't all make it out. One of you has to die. Only 4 can leave. That's what he said. But now they've taken it as someone has to die. And Dr. Hill counted as the someone who had to die. So, yeah, okay. And they leave. They drive away. And then we get the monitors changed to a snowy cabin, which is a nod to the game. So this is supposed to be a prequel to that. And then we hear Dr. Hill whistling. So obviously he survived and is looped. But his character looks nothing like he does in the game. And correct me if I'm wrong, but in the game, isn't he just an hallucination for the main character who's played by Rami Malek? Because he's the psycho killer in that one. Trying to get revenge for his sister's disappearance. Something like that. Like I said, I haven't played the game. I'm an Xbox guy. If you stop making everything exclusive for one console or the other, I'd be able to play it. I would love to play Until Dawn or the Spider-Man games or the Nathan Drake Uncharted. But no, they're for PlayStation. Why can't you make them? Why do they have to be exclusive? I know back in the day that was cool. But nowadays, everything should be for everything. Well, we gotta have exclusive games. Like Gears of War is only for Xbox. Halo is only for Xbox, right? Yeah, but I don't know. I know there are other that NBA 2K games aren't exclusive or anything like that. There's exclusive things for Nintendo, Mario, Donkey Kong, stuff like that. But I wish you could play Mario on an Xbox. Some things aren't exclusive because you get like Banjo Kazooie, which was a Nintendo exclusive back in the day, and now they made it because Microsoft bought Rare, so you can play it. There's also PlayStation Rare, maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, Until Dawn. It's fine. I'll give it a middle of the road. Certainly when it comes to this director, David F. Sandberg. Which, by the way, there's no cameo from his wife, although I think her picture was on one of the posters. She's just not credited. I swear that's his wife on there. His picture's on there too. I'm like, hey, that's the director. Right? I just don't like that they set up that one of them has to die. Setting up that someone's got to make sacrifice. Either it's Nina, who's going to die for her friends to escape, or it's Clover, who's going to die to be with her sister again. Only to say, oh no, they killed Dr. Hill. That's good enough. You know, that's not what they said earlier in the movie, but yeah. I don't know. I'll give it a middle of the road. Because it's fine. You know, I don't know if I'd ever watch it again, but maybe it's something I'll put on in the background once in a while or something like that, but it's fine. It's fine. So, what are your thoughts on Until Dawn? Leave a comment, so much like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.